So you saw Black Phone, the original, right?
Yeah.
I really liked that movie. I thought it was awesome.
Spooky.
Yeah, but like, I'm pretty sure that movie took 6 months off of my life.
Well, it's just psychological thriller kind of thing. So.
It's just solid anticipatory.
Yeah, it's really scary.
The whole time.
If I watch horror movies, I'm really a fan of like a monster. Like I want like a thing to be scared of. The psychological horrors, man, they get me. Oh my god.
So this is where we differ. Even though like they stress me out, I prefer those. I know they're really not trying to scare me, that they're just building suspense. But you spend an entire movie with, oh, this is what the bad guy I think is, and then you see him and you're like, oh.
Yeah, but there's a second one.
Yeah, the second one, pretty interesting. I don't know. My frustration is, do I need a second one? The movie was done.
I was kind of confused. I was trying to remember what the first one's ending was, so I can remember what would be the cliffhanger kind of thing, but I don't think it was a cliffhanger.
Fairly new. Yeah, we'll just say they wrap everything up, and I'm happy with the ending, right? As to not give it away for anybody who hasn't seen this. I think it might be 5 years old by now. But
2021, so almost, yeah.
Almost 5. So all I'm saying is it was very well done. But knowing that the writers are involved, and I've seen the trailer, I'm like, I can't come to grips with the fact that there's a second one. Because, again, the first one was just done. This one can only make the first one better or make the first one worse.
Well,
I call it the Matrix effect.
The grabber, the main guy, the true evil transcends death, and the phone is ringing again.
Spoilers.
Kind of.
Because the other movie that I just saw, now I can't even think of the name of it, where all the kids are disappearing.
Children of the Corn?
No, just recently came out. And the problem is there's been so many... Oh, Weapons.
Oh, that's, the guy who made Barbarian. I still haven't seen that. Is it good?
Yes.
Oh, heck yeah.
That one is kind of a blend. Like, I think at times it's psychological, but at times it's traditional, like... It's got a little gore to it.
The last movie that guy made, Barbarian, was like you thought it was going to be psychological and stuff, and then there's a monster.
Yeah. Okay. So you know what? He's got a style.
Okay. Cool. Yeah. I mean, I really enjoyed that because it was a perfect blend.
Yeah. And this was so. What I think I enjoyed about that, I'm kind of going against what I just said about. I like the psychological thrillers because in my head, you can't make something potentially as evil. Like my mind has pictured something. And I've developed something, and then you're going to show me, and I'm like, oh, that's not what I was thinking it would be.
Yeah.
This was great because it's psychological. What is going on, and the sort of misdirect of everything, and then you see the monster in the end, and you go, and because I wasn't picturing a monster, because it wasn't was picturing something, like I'm just trying to stay invested in, was that an important detail? So Weapons ended up being very good. And I know I need to go and see Barbarian, but I just haven't. I really need to see those types. There's a buddy of mine that loves those films. And it's just not my style of movie. Like, if I'm going to sit at home and watch a movie.
Yeah, admittedly, I'm not picking those either.
Yeah. So it's kind of like, It's a genre I've grown to like, but it's, my buddy tells me, hey, we have to go see this movie. Mm-hmm. And we've gotten to the point well enough where he knows kind of the movies where I'm like, hey, man, you're going to go see that one by yourself.
Yeah, I don't need like heavy, like unnecessary gore like Saw. That doesn't interest me.
No, those don't, like that type of stuff does not interest me whatsoever. But again, I think I like these ones that are telling these complicated stories. The one with Nicolas Cage in it.
Arcadian?
Was it?
I don't know. Arcadian's amazing. I love that movie.
No, Long Legs.
Oh, Long Legs, yeah. That's hard. So weird. That's barely Nicolas Cage in my mind, but yeah, it is.
But it is. You know, there's these movies where it's just like, he knows that those are the kind of ones where I'm like, with the exception of, what was it, Brightburn? You remember that one?
Yeah.
That one I couldn't handle, because that was just gore.
Yeah, that falls in that category of,
It's too far.
Love the premise, but...
Just several scenes in that movie, I just go, unnecessary.
Yeah, I don't need to see that.
Now, I was intrigued by the story, though.
Yeah, great.
Because it's the idea of like, I mean, okay, you can't say it without saying it, but it's like, what if Superman came to Earth? You know, the story of Superman is that, you know, he's an alien from another planet.
What if he embraces the godhood?
What if he realizes he's better than us and just does whatever he wants?
Yeah.
And instead of being good, he's just insane. Now,
Yeah.
that being said, you ever watch The Boys?
I watched the first season. Yeah.
That's the same story.
Mm-hmm.
That's a better telling of the Brightburn story from the standpoint of the superhero.
But also, it's more of like the DC universe or something.
Yeah, it's for sure more involved. But I like the way they tell that story. Yeah,
it's like, yeah, these people are not as good as you think.
I think that one's great because they blend in the persona of being good.
Yeah.
But The Boys did a better job of like the whole evil Superman kind of conversation.
That was a weird show because I really enjoyed when you get to the end of the first season, you're like, these are the boys. Like, those are the boys.
Yeah.
The boys aren't like the team, the superhero team or whatever, you know? Like, it's those three guys.
Yep.
Yep. Their life goal now is to destroy every superhero.
So, what else do we have for a super scary Halloween spectacular? Ooh. So we talked about horror films.
Cybersecurity, probably.
I just kind of spaced out. I was jamming to the music.
It's good music.
But that's okay. Do you know when you hear that music? Because you know you're in good hands. Because you know the hands you're in is the Lighthouse IT Solutions podcast. Look, I am just honored to sit next to the king of Dean Caymans. It was unscripted too, ladies and gentlemen. Let's kick off another episode of the Lighthouse IT Solutions podcast. Griff, how are you doing this Halloween? Are you getting ready to get some good candy tonight?
They like rescheduled it in my town, so I'm just not going to do it.
They did in ours too, but because it's the same school district.
Yeah, it's a football game or something.
Busy last couple weeks, you know?
Yeah, I feel like most of the internet was on fire for a few reasons. One big one, which we can
Oh my
get
god.
into.
It's one that you could ironically lose sleep over.
Oh,
Amazon. I guess
AWS.
Amazon Cloud Services, which is a subsidiary of Amazon, and I guess some just sort of fun backstory is that largely AWS was designed because as Amazon's e-commerce platform just kept growing and growing, they effectively wrote their own public cloud. One of the first in the business.
Yeah, it's been around for a long time, and many companies are on it.
And it's just a great way to scale. Now, of course, we know that cost is always going to be a factor, and there is other competitors like Google Cloud and Microsoft Azure and just tons of other ones. Rackspace carries data centers, but Amazon is the biggest by far and away, leaps and bounds. I just wonder if people know who AWS is.
I definitely had people asking me what that was last week.
What does Amazon have to do with my internets, you know?
Data centers.
The reality is it's the hosting division. They host web services and provide scalable resources to organizations. So you don't actually have to own a physical server. You can pay Amazon to have your own little server process in the cloud. It's a cloud service, right?
Mm-hmm.
So last Monday, we had that outage and all of the internet. Well, you know, you get to pick what region you're in, and everybody seems to pick the North Virginia one. U.S. East, U.S. East,
U.S. East 1.
It was the only, that was the only data center to have issues.
Yeah, but it's probably the biggest.
Probably.
It's U.S. East 1.
It is probably their biggest.
Massive.
Proof that, hey, the cloud is great, and yes, there is some redundancies, but cloud providers can have bad days. AWS had an outage that pretty much took down about a third of the internet.
Yep.
Is believed. So major websites, software as a service applications, maybe smart devices, IoT type things.
Oh, yeah. Anything that was running anything on their cloud.
It just shows you that companies of all sizes put their digital eggs in a single basket.
Yeah.
You would think by now you'd be like, we should try to create some of this in another data center or maybe in a competing cloud product so that you have.
But backups and redundancies are expensive. And why not just consolidate? I just want one bill, please.
One bill. Starting at a little after 3 a.m.
This is funny, too, because this is on the tails of our local issues we had with 2 massive outages and fiber cables.
Oh, yeah. That was
really
great. One of our local internet providers, the Friday before all of this, there was a car accident that wrecked a main feed line for them. So then they redirect all of their traffic. That was going to Columbus. That feed line comes into Columbus because, again, redundancy, right? So they get a lot of their internet. They feed it in from Detroit and Columbus. There's a bad accident that causes the fiber to become damaged on the way to Columbus. So they switch over to have everybody leveraging the Detroit fiber connection.
And then,
So rerouting everything through that. And a utility cuts it. Oh my gosh.
yeah. So that all, right as all that was kind of getting fixed and whatnot, AWS for us went out, and then
Yeah, it was a great time. I loved it. It was best day ever.
Yeah.
Best day ever.
But this outage affected airlines, social media, business backups, like, I mean,
Anybody
you
who
name it.
uses this service.
Yeah. There's a funny one that I pulled out of here. Do you know 8 Sleep? The company 8 Sleep?
I do. I totally looked at their mattresses when I went to go buy one.
It's a mattress that cools you, basically. It's got AC in it type of thing. But it not like some of these where it's just like a topper. It is an entire mattress. And
No,
it
the
has
mattress has ventilation system.
and it has a little like AC unit basically underneath that powers it. Well, turns out they use AWS for basically all of their, computing and whatnot, saving all the settings and such. Got stuck. So if you had heat on at the time of the outage, stayed on blasting heat. If it was a recline setting, because it moves into reclining and whatnot, it was stuck. So for basically, I don't know, a day
So
and a half
literally,
or so.
you would have had a hard night's sleep. Could you imagine if you worked for Amazon, like AWS as a networking engineer, and then like your bed has gone wonky, and you're like, huh. Then you go into work and your services are busted, and you're like,
I didn't even get a good night's
I
sleep.
didn't even get a
before
good night's sleep.
Dang it. I mean, I'm sure they were woken up at 3 a.m.
I'm sure they were. Yeah. So 3 a.m., this is the culmination of actually 2 problems that happened. That's what I think a lot of people just go, oh, it's one really bad outage. But it's actually the culmination of 2. And in a nutshell, around 3 a.m., a little after, AWS US East 1, which is out of North Virginia, kind of just on the outskirts of DC, actually. That's actually that one's a really cool one if you can look up, by the way, because most of the big 3 are all there next to each other. The concept of it is like all of the major providers have a presence on this campus so that they can directly talk to each other.
Yeah.
Anyway, it's really cool. And it is a massive, massive area just full of data centers. All right, so we have an issue, 311. Amber is the color of your energy. Whoa. That's a song, the band 311. Funny part about that, so here's my seg. So, sorry, poor D came in. I think it's kind of funny that the band 311, which was really popular in the 90s, their big hit was a song called Down.
So Amazon was just
adhering
to a...
But whenever I think of 311, I always think of the song Amber, which wasn't nearly as popular. I don't even know if it was a single for them. So we got this major outage. Ironically, one of our favorite sayings in IT is, it's always DNS.
Yeah.
Turns out that the problem literally was DNS related, even in a cloud.
Man, that is such a classic thing.
Yeah, DynamoDB, which is a thing that I'm going to level with you, I don't even know anything about. But it is part of like a database engine. And DNS records to that just started failing. Well, when that happens, it's just a cascading effect. You can't talk to your data. The world is data-driven. Merry Christmas. The world's starting to go under. Now, what's really weird to me is that a lot of the functionality was restored by 8:30 our time. In fact, you could say they were on a recovery trajectory by 9 a.m. Except in all of this rerouting of traffic, there was a bug in one of their load balance monitors. So their load balancer goes, whoa, something's wrong here, and tried to rebalance and made everything worse. Arguably worse than the original problem. So they had to go through, they actually had to throttle all traffic and restrict while they fixed this bug, because basically the load balancer is like, oh, there's too much work to do, and it's trying to use things that it shouldn't be doing. So they have to fix that. So the whole time we're seeing throttled internet. Well, basically we're seeing their services get throttled, and that's why it looks like things are intermittent. Because, okay,
sometimes they're working a
they're
little.
Picking all of their customers, it's not just like one customer gets through and the other one doesn't.
Yeah.
So you're getting the visible effect to you is it's intermittent.
Yeah.
So go through all of that. We spend pretty much by the end of that day, I think it's 7:00 our time, things are finally restored. We're back to normal. Except within the next 24 hours, we find out, oh, actually, not all data was processed. Some of
Yeah.
it just sort of got stuck.
There's a backlog.
So the backlog was supposed to have been reprocessed by 9 o'clock. We find out, no, it's not. There's still actions that weren't processed. I want to be very pro-cloud. In fact, you know me, just as recently as a few years ago, we built out our own, so that we didn't have to depend on some of this.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's the point, though, is that you need to kind of diversify. I mean, it's expensive, but downtime's also expensive.
Look at how many people were affected by this. I mean, we had a lot of people who didn't fully understand this that are like blaming us for this issue. It's like, there is just nothing we can do.
Yeah, it's so big. It's a global problem.
Yeah. And so, yeah, I got some not nice texts.
For something you have
No
so
control
little
over.
control of.
Yeah, yeah.
Like, that's wild.
Yeah, you do.
Ridiculous.
So I think a lot of this highlights the dependency. And we
Yeah.
talk about redundancies, but redundancies shouldn't just be what does the service provider provide you as redundancy? It's what can you do to build. I put it this way. We're the makers of our own fate a lot of times. Put all of your eggs in one basket and be prepared that when that basket fails,
Yep.
you're caught picking up shells. A great example here is like, you should look if you don't want to go through these. And I know that it's few and far between. And the reality is that when it does happen, you hear about it on the news, but I don't know. It's just really difficult, especially for some of these big companies.
Yeah. It's sad that the everyday person still thinks, oh, this is all magic and why isn't it working? Gets frustrated.
Look, you don't have to understand it.
Yeah, but if you don't at least kind of understand it, you have no empathy for the people who are trying to help. So,
You're not wrong.
yeah.
You're not wrong. That was most of what we did. We were just triaging angry people.
Yeah.
And that's the hard thing is like, instead of focusing on normal workload, it was literally just,
Well, again, locally, it was
Yep.
off the heels of another outage,
Yep.
too, technically. So it's, double the fire. It's great.
here's something you didn't know that you are probably using on a regular basis, but not directly. So there is a system called Redis, Redis.
Never heard of it.
It is going to be in pretty much anything and everything as a service platform, okay? And I'm going to grossly simplify that. There's more to it than that. It does a lot, but the idea is it's a very smart and intelligence in-memory data store. So it can do caching of data. It can do caching of, say, pages. It can do session management. So when you log into a site, it remembers who you are. All of this is what we would call volatile data.
Yeah.
That if something were to happen and that server were to reboot or whatever,
Be gone.
that data's gone, but it would be rebuilt over time.
Mm-hmm.
It's high performance. So instead of storing it on a disk drive, it's all pretty much stored in memory,
Yeah.
which is really fast. So Redis, man, it went for the gold this week because we found a critical vulnerability in this platform. It's open source, makes things very simple, but they found a critical vulnerability that has existed for 13 years.
That's hard to believe. That's crazy.
The CVE, with a security score of 10.0.
Oh my gosh.
If you're playing at home, that's a 10-point scale.
Yeah, that's 10 out of 10 right
We
there.
just broke the mercury.
We've only seen a few of those.
Only seen a few of them. The CVE, basically what they found is it can utilize Lua, which is a scripting engine. What you can do is after you authenticate with Redis, an attacker can send a specially crafted script in Lua. By the way, Lua is enabled by default in Redis.
Oh, good.
To break out of the sandbox, because actually it does run in a sandbox. But there is a way for you to write a script that allows it to get out of the sandbox. This means that Lua then runs at the host level, giving you full access to the machine in Lua scripting.
Wow. And this affects pretty much everything that this is on, which could be a cloud device.
Yeah, this is
So your data is not secure if this is in there.
it is estimated to be in use by 75% of all cloud-based environments.
Oh my gosh.
So when I say like it's as a service, there's a very good chance, even if you have custom software written, because of how this makes certain, just the session management, right? If you're going to track your user logins, like you make a portal, I'm going to make sure that this session stays open for this amount of time. It makes it super easy, and it'll automatically expire it for you, and it makes life easy. So even if you custom designed your own software, you probably are using Redis to deliver that product. It is everywhere.
Yeah, that is extremely widespread. That affects a ton of stuff. What's the game plan? I mean,
There is patch already, but here's what's real crazy. Remember I said that it's really the big thing with this RCE is post-authentication. What makes things a little bit more dangerous is that if no authentication is configured to interact with the Redis system, then that means you can just connect to Redis, run this bomb of a script, and take control of the entire host without issue. And because authentication is disabled, you don't even need to authenticate because technically it just allows all connections. So the one thing that was a barrier was the authentication. If you were to use the container because there's a thing called Docker Hub that has these containers pre-built for you so you can use them. And they always tell you don't use the defaults. But do you know what most people do?
Yeah, they're just going to use the defaults. Yeah.
By default, Lua's enabled and authentication's disabled. Out of the box, CVE, it is believed to be about 50% of installations could be using the default configuration.
Oh my gosh. It's the Wild West.
Thousands of servers could be compromised. Now, there is an update. Redis has published it.
Yeah, but you still got to roll that out as a...
You got to do it.
Yeah.
You just got to do it.
Wow.
So if you
kind of know what we're talking about, you need to do. You need to update.
If you're doing any form of development,
yeah,
and you're working and you have some type of web development application, ask them if you use Redis.
Yeah. Wow.
Hopefully they already are like, yeah, no, we get it. We get it. But this has just been found out after 13 years of existing.
Yeah, that's nuts. What a huge one. And this leads us into the AI section of the podcast.
I hope people aren't exhausted by AI because I'm fascinated where we've gone.
Yeah, there's so much news and so much going on, so many changes constantly. It's important to talk about and keep up to date, especially with the fact that, people are trying to take over, for example, browsers.
Well, what a great place. Let's be real. What's the ultimate problem with Chrome OS? Like when we talk about like Chromebooks and things like that.
You're locked in to an ecosystem.
You're pretty locked in, and there's not much you can do. However, if I told you that you had to use a Chromebook for work, or I don't mean specifically like a Chromebook, but like you get the picture, it's largely designed to be an internet-based device.
Yeah.
How hard would your life be?
Well, realistically, most of my stuff's browser-based, or at least can be browser-based, so it wouldn't be the worst thing. And I guess that's kind of your point.
And of all of us in our organization, you're probably the one that has the most reliance on
apps.
But we're at a point where a lot of the video and audio editing is done in a browser.
Yeah.
So with rare exception, you're able to do most of your work via
having a browser that's AI powered or at least assisted.
You can see exactly where the battle of the browser and the battle to own the browser. It's why with the whole Internet Explorer type war, it's why it was so important. It's why Microsoft lost an antitrust. Because all of a sudden, the modern workplace, it isn't about whether you're running Linux or Mac or, an iPad or whatever, Chrome OS. It's the browser.
Yeah.
It's winning the browser war. And now OpenAI is getting into the mix with wanting to make a browser.
Yep, their Atlas browser. They are trying to make an AI-powered browser that has this as kind of an assistant, a sidekick, if you will. Edge has been kind of trying to do this with Copilot slowly.
Yeah.
Haven't fully done it. Google, has kind of been doing this with Gemini. Haven't fully done it yet. But this one is full on. It is out on macOS only right now. Everything else is coming soon. And they have this little agent mode if you have the paid plan. I assume that's an operator, like a full on, going to do tasks for you kind of thing.
Probably.
Yeah. But a lot of this in the back end, they've said, the moneymaker behind it is to do more personalized targeting of ads and things like that.
And we've talked a little bit about, what was that long form thing that they were doing? I think we talked about in the last episode.
Nodes?
Like, it's like, oh yeah, this is about not knowing the answer right away, but like reminding you in like 8 months.
Sure, that was called. Wow, what was that called?
I'll forgive you because I can't remember anything anyway.
So the idea is, though, it's got persistent memory, making everything more personalized. So if you Google something like a flight, for example, it will know already where you're at and what you need to go.
Using your cache as a collection.
Yep.
Right? Like it's good. If you do any research on AI, a lot of it is, it may not know anything about you, but you can feed data into it, and that data is used as sort of you might, in some systems, they'll call it a collection, or you'll call it the real kind of term, probably closer to a RAG, like it's augmented material.
Yeah.
That it knows about you, that it feeds that data into it, and then the AI goes, okay, this is some context about this person.
Search may change completely because of, if I'm trying to schedule an appointment, I don't go to my dentist's website anymore. I'm going to ask it, I need to schedule a dentist appointment. It will just go to the contact appointment scheduler of my dentist that it already knows about that page. Boom.
But here's where I think this is really cool, because one, it may infer, which is not great, but it also could be good because of, based on your previous search history, it knows that you're a bit of a sissy.
It doesn't.
And you don't like pain. It could infer that because it knows that about you, that if you're looking for a dentist, it might recommend one that specializes in pain-free. Because you're saying, I really want this dentist, and if it's able to use
personalized
your search history as a RAG, then it's able to know your personality a little bit better.
Yeah.
That's really cool. That's also really scary. But like
the metadata now is,
your search through AI is based on you as an individual.
Yeah.
And you no longer have to be like, well, I want to make sure that it is a pain-free, holistic doctor. Man, the AI is already going to know that about you.
Yeah. It's
going
going to tailor it for you.
I need a new dentist.
Yeah.
And it's going to be like, I got one for you. And then it recommends like a kid's dentist and says, don't worry, I asked him, and he says he's discreet.
He won't make fun of you. It's okay. So it's a fascinating thing that I think has great potential, but is also a huge privacy and security issue, potentially. Like, I can't just tell the future, but it could easily be a problem. And, if someone gains information about you in some manner, like, that's quite the dossier on you,
Well, and there's a difference between using data as augmented data, and then there's data where how much of it are they going to train?
Yeah. Again,
where's that line get blurred?
Yeah. I don't know. This is really going to start suggesting, like, what the perfect product is for people and stuff, and then, I don't know. It's about to get so weird.
So weird.
So weird.
If I had to pick an AI that I fanboy over, it is Anthropic.
Claude.
I love Claude. And there's a new one that's actually supposed to be as capable as Claude, but even faster and cheaper. But let's keep focusing. So Claude is the one, it's really for the tech industry, is just crushing it.
I mean, code-wise, coding.
The coding is really good. They're really putting an emphasis on developers.
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of the technical aspects of, like, say, PowerShell development, Python, C#, whatever it is you're developing. Like, there's even a Claude Code version of their thing where it can run and it can read. You create a Claude.markdown file and you describe what the app is going to do, and you describe where things are located, and that'll help it do unit testing. That'll help it write and do bug check. Like, you can have it take a look at your code or just straight up write it for you.
Yeah, that's fantastic.
And you can do it all from command line, right?
Wow.
That's just fantastic. Well, then we got into, remember, they're like, well, okay, so AI is great based on data that it's learned. And people have kind of forgotten that the open standard for the Model Context Protocol, MCP, was established and built by Anthropic first.
Oh.
So this whole concept of how do we let AI talk to data systems, that whole protocol method called MCP,
they did that,
is built on them. This opens the door that you can talk to weather websites and say, hey, what's the weather? And now the AI can go, well, I know how to do that. We call them tools if you're looking at a chat window, right? What do I need to do this? Well, I need this tool because this tool helps me determine the weather. And I can say, what is the weather? And then it converts that into a web API. The MCP tells it how to get its information. Well, not to be outdone.
What if you took that a step further?
What if you took it a step further and made it a step smaller? That's what I love. Anthropic introduces this feature called Claude Skills. So whereas MCP, you have to load the whole context and everything about it in a session, which preloads tokens into the system because it has to know how to do it. Knowing all of that, how can you make things simple when you just want to do one simple task? So Claude Skills, I think this is really cool, and it might even be better than MCP. Like, this might be more revolutionary than MCP.
You say Claude Skills, and it sounds like the ChatGPT study, which is a very different thing.
Yeah, so Skills starts off as nothing more than just the markdown file that is written in such a way that it tells a model how to do something. It's a recipe, it's instructions. And then it also has additional reference documents on how to do those things. But what makes Skills more critical is that part of the importance is the markdown structure, is that you tell it what that action is for. You say this skill does this. And so what it does is it only loads basic information about the skill, not the whole thing. So one, it's not taking up memory residence, so it's not tokenizing. So it's actually cheaper to process. It's significantly smaller than an MCP, and it's just a way to execute actions. Now, you can do other tool calls, and you can do other things. But what happens is it says, oh, I know that if the user asks me to do this, then I need to go back to the skill and load the rest of it. But initially, it only learns enough about the skill to know what it can do and where it's located so that it goes back and references it.
At the minimum, this is a leap in efficiency.
Yeah. You're not preloading stuff you don't need.
Yeah.
It's essentially saying, look, if I want to craft an email that's branded for sales, you could outline what's important to it. But you could say this skill helps draft branded content emails. It won't load all of the content or images or anything unless it needs to run that skill. It just knows that this skill exists.
Yeah.
And then it can leverage it later.
That's cool.
It's remarkably simple, and some people are like, well, it's just a bunch of files. But yeah, the way AI works is
it couldn't do this before.
It has to supplement its own knowledge. And before, you would have to load the whole module in for it to do anything. And this allows it to sit dormant and just know enough about, say, that module to then go, I need it now, and load the rest of it.
Yeah. So
I love it. It's a way of being efficient. It's a way of saving electricity and power. And that just makes things cheaper because you're loading a couple sentences that describe the skill instead of the skill and all of its supporting documents. It's not even including the process, like the recipe, so to speak, the instruction.
It doesn't have to yet.
It doesn't have to. It's really just saying, this is the skill, this is what it does, and this is what you need to execute it. And then you have your supporting. But it only really loads the tool name, effectively, the skill name, and the description of when to use it.
This company seems more innovative than most of these others.
I think what they have done is they've made the decision to they want to be techie. They want to help make things be rapid development, so to speak.
They're not building an AI browser.
They're building things that sort of build the world. They're not trying to solve, like ChatGPT, it really seems like they're trying to be a lot of things to everybody. But like ChatGPT, and this is, Microsoft's a big investor in them, and that's where Copilot's based off of, right? They want to solve the world's problems. These guys just want to make the world run better. Yeah. So they focus on automations. And for me, like, this is why you see me just so animated about it, right?
That's really cool. Is this, I assume this is out.
It is. It's officially out.
Nice. I'm excited to see this and actually use it. Well, I've got a small little bit of social media stuff I'll cover real quick. I'll kind of combine them into one little story here. The first one is just that Instagram's getting a full UI redesign, which, it is big in itself, but it is to focus on Reels. It is to completely go against, TikTok and that kind of thing. Apparently 50% of activity on Instagram all time now is spent on Reels. So they're like, let's just show it right up in the front. And they're changing out how, the UI is working. So there's going to be like this bottom bar and things like that. So basically the idea is that you're going to want to get more Reels out because it's becoming the default, if you will, for the whole thing. The other one is that Meta's just completely removing the desktop messenger for everybody, Mac and Windows. So Messenger's gone, which means, again, moving to browser-based if you need it there. Mm-hmm. So if you have chat histories and things like that you want to save locally for some reason, you're able to do that. You just have to do that before December. And then the last one, which I think is kind of cool, is that Facebook is reintroducing their job board, which was odd that they even removed it. They had some issues originally where that was getting out of hand, and they weren't really making any money off of it. Only certain people had to pay to post on jobs, like staffing agencies and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. Now they're bringing it back because they have apparently this back end of AI that they want to utilize to make it happen. Weird enough, though, is that they're merging it into Marketplace. So Marketplace is going to have the job ads.
I like this better when it's called Craigslist.
Well, it's fixated at entry-level jobs, too. Like, that's kind of going to be the main focus of them. And maybe this is them trying to get young people back on Facebook, maybe. I don't really understand the full, why they're doing it necessarily. So kind of some interesting stuff from Meta. It's mostly interesting updates in terms of Instagram. I think that's going to change how a lot of people utilize the app. But for the most part, it's just because of Reels.
By the way, I love Sora. It is such a brilliant waste of time.
You know what people call that colloquially? Slop talk.
Yeah, oh yeah. And it's great because if you think of something you're like, this is funny, it'd make it better. And you can remix it.
Yeah, you remix it with whatever the heck you want.
Done.
Yeah.
Wonder if Shaquille O'Neal knows that he is Sora popular.
Oh, he has to, right?
I hope so.
Yeah. He's an interesting man because he goes into, he really dives into ads. So I think he's probably cool with it. He's probably not making any money off it.
No, but listen.
He doesn't really care, probably.
My thought, we talk about getting that mind equity, that thought equity, right? You talk about that type of stuff. Shaq hasn't played basketball in, 20 years?
But he's been hosts of multiple things. He's been spokespersons for stuff.
He's got a certain swagger to him. I would love it because what Sora's doing, by them using it and be like, it's got to be Shaq, he's staying relevant, and I love it.
I know he made a shoe brand and made it super cheap for kids or something, so that's kind of fun, But
he has a clothing brand for big dudes.
Oh, really nice, yeah. That checks, yeah.
But to be perfectly honest, the shirt I'm wearing is actually from him.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That's cool.
And the reality is, I like it because I'm a big guy, so a lot of clothing is just meant to tarp you.
Yeah.
His clothing is very comfortable, but it's also very stylish.
Dude, he is massive, though, isn't he?
He is massive. He's got to be, you think he's over
7'1"? Yeah, he's 7'1". The classic photo is him next to Kevin Hart. So funny. What a ridiculous height difference, man. Well, all right. That about does it.
Oh, yeah. Well, look, it's been kind of a crazy and fast National Cybersecurity Awareness Month, hasn't it?
Yeah, it has. Hope you watched our little animated video. Hope you learned about the Core 4.
Core 4. We used to call them the Big 4. We actually got to do another event. We got to do 2 speaking events this year. We did our AI Summit, of course. And we got to do sort of another security-related event. Excited as to how well that went. And it's just such a great time. And of course, we're not done yet. I know that the month is coming to an end. But one of the things that we do like to do, because we have your attention and we do so much more marketing, so to speak, so much more involvement with things, is that we have our State of the Network / State of Lighthouse webinar. And that's a lot for our clients to learn more about what's happening. What are we doing as a service provider to keep your network secure? Changes that are happening within the organization. We kind of used it as an opportunity to talk to you about security, but at the same time, use it as an opportunity to talk to you about what's going on behind our doors, because we don't get to do that as much as we used to. And so pretty excited for that. Announcements will be dropped in emails here pretty soon.
So you can join
discuss that. So you can join it. Like I said, that one's more about family. You know, the podcast is for everybody, but the state of the network is more about family. So be on the lookout for an email. And if you don't get one and you're a client, make sure you let us know. All that said, I think that does it for this episode. Griff, you got anything you want to add?
That's it.
No, good times. Appreciate all of you. That does it for this episode of the Lighthouse IT Solution Podcast. Of course, in addition to all of the great material that you've seen regarding cybersecurity this month, it's not just 1 month that Griff and his team's doing that. Check out the hub at hub.lighthousesol.com, and you can view our blog posts. We actually were pretty well live tweeting the status updates of the outage.
Well, that's tweeting.
Well, live blogging. I got my terms wrong. But we were following it along because, right, one of our providers is our email security product, and they were affected. So, right, what are you going to do? You can't send an email.
Yeah.
So all of that information was being sent out in, so that people could track it real time.
If you can't get an email, you got to go to the hub.
Exactly. So encourage you, if you ever have questions about things, we always try to put that information, and it gets put front and center as a banner if it's really important. And then podcasts, if you want to learn more about the things that we talked about today, you can get our show notes. But maybe you want to catch up on anything else that you've missed. It's all one spot right there at lighthousesol.com/podcast. Also on the hub. And gosh, I can't believe it. We're going to hang this up, and it's November.
Yeah, it's wild.
Here we go. Appreciate everybody. Stay safe. Stay cyber smart. We'll see you next time on the next episode of Lighthouse IT Solution.